This is a test podcast, TED podcast, test podcast. Never done this before. This isn't a good setup for what it looks like behind me or anything. And I can fix that later. I'm not really concerned about that right now. I just want to get a good sample here, see what I'm doing. Boy, I am ugly. This is View from the North. This is a political podcast. I live in the north of Michigan, right up here by the Mackinac Bridge you may have heard of. Some of you have probably heard of the Mackinac Bridge, or maybe even seen it. It's a really impressive thing. I live a couple miles south of it. If you go up on my roof, you can see the bridge. Walk up the hill behind my house here a little ways, you can see the bridge. So it's we're way out in the boonies. There's not a whole lot of people or industry or anything around here. It's mostly tourism in the summertime. That's the biggest employer. And then, just human services other than that, education and healthcare. And I am a healthcare practitioner. My name is Mark. I'm a nurse assistant. I love my work. It's the most important thing that I do, the most important thing that I've done in my lifetime. But the view from the north is important. There's a lot of people up here who are not happy with what's going on in our country, and we want to reclaim our country. We want to reclaim the Constitution, because as Katie Fang was arguing just a little bit ago, it seems like we use the word unconstitutional or illegal almost every day. Well, we do multiple times a day with this administration. They're violating the Constitution, and it's pretty impressive that we alone in the countries of the world have our make our oaths when we work for the government. Our oath is not to a person. It's not to a king. It's not even to a government. Our oath is to the United States Constitution. It's to a piece of paper. And that is primary. That's the law in this country. The Constitution, that's the law. People are trying to make the law what they want it to be. And but the law is the Constitution, and we take our oaths to the Constitution. I've taken that oath before. I worked for the United States government when I was younger. I was a staff assistant to a member of Congress. And I took an oath to the Constitution, and I took that oath seriously. I had to argue with my employer a lot when he wanted to do stuff or supported stuff that was just not constitutional. And I would argue with him. It was my job to do that, to uphold the oath that you make to the Constitution. And so when he, proposed supporting something that was, like the what do we call it? The Patriot Act, all of that surveillance state crackdown after we got so freaked out by 9/11. And I would say to the congressman for whom I work, like, really? You want to just upend a bunch of constitutional rights and protections just because our country got attacked? I mean, we should stand even stronger for those values in our country and the Constitution when our country gets attacked, not undermine those things that make our country free and fair. So it really would piss me off, and I would argue with him. I didn't care. I'm not a member of the Democratic Party. I have no allegiance to any political figure of any sort. I admire figures like Bernie Sanders and AOC, and now maybe some of these governors like Pritzker and Newsom. I admire because they're doing something and they're standing for the Constitution. I don't admire my governor, Gretchen Whitmer. Well, what a worthless piece of shit she has proven to be. Seriously, like, what has she done against Trump? Nothing. She's trying to work with Trump. She's hugged Trump. She's given kisses. This is a guy whose followers tried to kill her. They put on a plan. They put together a plan to abduct the governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, and then they were going to interrogate her, I guess, and then hang her or kill her or something at the end of it. I don't know what the hell they were trying to do, but they had this plan, and she's hugging the guy who inspired that plan. I just the capitulation, the ridiculous, you know, oh, we got to follow precedent, we got to do things properly, and we can't do anything, and it's just so ridiculous because the right wing doesn't give a shit about any of that. And Gretchen Whitmer is just a worthless piece of shit. And so that's the view from Northern Michigan today. That Gretchen Whitmer and every other fucking Democrat is a worthless piece of shit. Because they have not stood up for the Constitution. They have stood up, if they've stood up at all, they're standing up for themselves and themselves only. And you don't take an oath to yourself. You don't take an oath to Chuck Schumer or to Donald Trump. You take an oath to the United States Constitution. And that's what I want to see more of. And that's what I will respect. And that's what my new super PAC, I'm calling it INDAPAC because it's an independent supporting PAC, Political Action Committee for Independent Candidates. That's why I'm putting that together, because the Democrats absolutely suck. And of course, Republicans are fucking fascists. So we don't have a lot of choice. It's the people that are doing it. I was very encouraged by the fact that a whole lot of people went out and voted last Tuesday, and for Hakeem Jeffries to say, "Oh, the Democrats are back," is bullshit. Because who won that? Who won those elections? They were won mostly by they were won by Democratic voters. The voters won. The voters decided that, hey, we don't want this BS. We're going to vote for decent candidates. And you can't say that the Democratic Party is back because people weren't saying, hey, I love Democrats, I'm going to go get all excited and vote for Democrats now. That is not what was going on. They were voting against, it was a referendum on Trump and his policies, and they were voting against that in huge majorities. And you know, it wasn't like people were voting for Democrats because, oh, we're all excited about Democrats now. They've done all this branding. Their branding is, we don't do anything, and that excites me, and I'm going to join now. That wasn't it. And for these assholes in Washington to act like that's what happened, it's just, again, more of the problem that this podcast is being designed to oppose. I don't want to fight with. I mean, I do want to fight with idiots on the left who don't seem to know what to do, and I'll fight with them because that's what we got to do. We got to improve our ability to fight, our ability to take on the fascists, and be smart about it, for crying out loud. I mean, this whole thing since Trump came on the scene, I have said it over and over and over and over. This is about a battle between intelligence and stupidity. And we need intelligence to win.